When you and I took a look together at the Mac operating system and the Linux operating system, we saw amazing parallels to Windows. Well, it continues when it comes to command line tools. Let's take a look at some basic Linux commands. Many of these you'll already know from your Windows or Mac experience. So here I am at a terminal on an Ubuntu machine, and you can see it's got me in my home folder. If I do an ls, I can see what's inside that home folder. Notice I've got a directory in there called Pictures. How do we change to that directory? Well, you might guess it's cd. I'll say that I want to go following the physical path called Pictures. And it says okay, and brings me into the Pictures directory. I do an ls here, and I can see the contents of that particular directory. Another great command is grep, or grep. This allows us to search for text, even text within files on our system. So watch this. We're at the home prompt here, and I'll say, all right, I want to change into the physical directory documents. So it changes us into the documents directory. Now I say, let's do a grep for the word, and don't be case sensitive, be case insensitive. Let's search for the word this in a document called sample. And it says, okay, in a document called sample, you have the following text. This is a sample document. Notice it's highlighting that word in the sample document that we were looking for. Now, in the Windows world, we had a shutdown utility that we could use to shut down the system. Does the same thing exist here? Let's try it. We'll say shutdown. My spelling wasn't even close there. And it says, hey, look, you actually need to provide more information than that. If you want help, just do -- help. So I do that, and we can see that there is the shutdown command with a wide variety of options that we can provide. Some of them are going to be required option, like the time of when we want to shut down. And there's an easy way to do it. We could say shut down now to bring the system down almost immediately. Now you might think pwd is going to be used to set your password, but it doesn't. It shows you where you are in the file system. So we're in home, Anthony. Let's just make sure this is working. So if I do a change directory and we go into, let's go into the documents folder from here, and then I do my pwd, yep, it shows us that we've moved into that part of the file system. Let me change directory to get back, and let me clear to clear the screen. So pwd shows us where we are. What about setting the password then? That's PASSWD. And there's options we can use for this command, but notice we can just very quickly change the password for it in its basic usage for the current user. Now in Windows, we had the ability to copy files. We use the copy command. Here in Linux, it would be the cp command in order to copy files. But there's also a powerful move option. MV allows us to move stuff. So let me change directories, and I'll go into my documents folder, and in there I have a sample document, and I want to move the sample document to a folder that I've created called texts. Now, did that move actually succeed? I kind of believe it did, because we didn't get a syntax error. And we could, of course, change directories and list contents and look at the command line, but don't forget, we do have a graphical user interface in Ubuntu to check our file system. Here's my home directory. Here's the documents. There's no longer a sample document in there, but if we go in texts, there is the sample document that we moved. What about removing a file at the command prompt? Well, here you can see I'm in that documents text location, and I'll say rm, the remove command. I'll use the -r switch, and I'll say get rid of that document called sample. And it says, okay, it's gone. Of course, it doesn't tell us anything. It just doesn't return a syntax error, as I alluded to, and we can be pretty sure that sample text file is gone. Another cool command prompt utility that we have is called VI. This is a text editor that we can use in the terminal. So I say VI and then test, for example, and it starts creating, it creates a new file for us called test, and we can start entering our text. Let's see, this is so cool. I love this. text editor. Notice I can do my carriage returns and I can create the text. If I hit escape on the keyboard, now I can enter in a command. For example, if I want to quit and save these changes that I've made, I'll do :WQ and hit enter. And it says, all right, we'll quit and save. If I do an ls here in this directory now, we can see there is a document called text, and we know what would be inside it. Let me say vi test and hit enter, and we can see we are now editing that previous document that we created. And believe it or not, there's plenty of other command line tools we might find ourselves using, like chmod to change permissions of files or directories. There's cmkdir that allows us to create a directory that's protected with the cryptographic file system. There's chown, which allows us to change ownership of a file. There's the ifconfig that we've seen in another nugget in order to examine and potentially reconfigure the wired network card properties. There's iwconfig in order to change wireless network interface settings. There's the ps command in order to view active processes on our machine. There's the su command in order to change the user account. There's sudo, which is basically like run as, that allows us to run something as the root administrator account. There's something called the advanced packaging tool, which does software packages for installation on Linux. So sure enough, the apt-get command line tool is for working with those software packages. And finally, there's the dd command, a command that copies a file but converts the format of the data in the copy process. So there's quite a few commands here, and to help you memorize those, I have created flashcards for each and every one of them. And it sure is great to have this basic familiarity with Ubuntu and Linux operating systems, even if you don't plan on making it your primary operating system. Here's the instructions for a product called Cisco Viral. It's an emulator for Cisco network equipment, and as you can see, it's a virtual machine you download that's running none other than Linux. So part of the installation process tells me to bring up a terminal window, and then in that terminal window, run sudo kvm-ok. We now know what this is doing. It's running a program called kvm-ok, and it's elevating my privileges to the root administrator in order to run that application. So this nugget certainly builds on your knowledge of Windows commands that I'm sure you already possessed, and we can see not much different going on here. We just have to master the commands and their syntax, and you can really do that through practice. Again, remember, when it comes to memorization of these commands, I've got the tool for you in the electronic flashcards that are in the Nugget Lab files accompanying this course. I sure hope this nugget was informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.